Well, folks, I am smiling, sitting around the table with Syracuse fans complaining after each play that every call was a foul, every out of bounds was against us, and I am coming off of this victory very happy. Joined by Dougie Fresh, Little Ski, Have, and Dave the Wave in the post game. Ugly win, not great, not smooth, much like the first half, but we got it done. Dougie, you predicted a 72-68 score, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
It's
What was the
70-68.
score? 60,
It was
66, 67, 62. I predicted.
Yes, that's right, as you always do. But you weren't
Thank
that far
you.
off. What
Yeah.
changed for us in the second half?
I think it was just one of those games. Get in there and do whatever you got to do and get out. I can't. I didn't watch. I couldn't see a lot of the game today. To say the truth, so I'm not really sure, but I think it was just a good, a tough turnaround from Saturday going up to Syracuse. It's a long trip, the whole thing. I think it was just get in there, figure it out, do what we've always done there, and get out of the game with a victory, and we did.
Yep. Have offensively, we were okay in the first half. Second half, scored 36 points in the first half, 33, 32 in the second half. So fairly balanced first half and second half. Not a ton of points from the interior. What it looked like for me was Syracuse was taking away the high post. They weren't leaving that option open like they typically have in them playing against us in the past.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
totally
counter
agree.
for us? What was the counter for us to beat that defense?
Look, we did. This was an ugly game, okay? And when you look at our, Dave will point out 43% from 3-point land, which is like, pretty high for us, right? 46 from the field. This was one of those where it just wasn't good. It just wasn't. We weren't clicking. Quick turnaround, travel. Maybe the guys are fatigued. We got the win. Really good teams. We would have lost this game last year, I think, right? Last year, we weren't great. This was a game we'd come into, we'd lay an egg, we'd lose by 5. We were just a little tougher. And honestly, Boeheim is a Hall of Fame coach, and he does a phenomenal job of like always having them. Would it surprise me if they made it Sweet 16 this year? No, because that's what he does, right? He takes teams and he kind of surprises you. But we got an ugly win. I'm concerned about, continue to be concerned about a couple people. I asked Fresh about Reese. Okay, what's going on with Reese? Reese has had a couple games that are not bad. They're just underwhelming. And if you're like borderline NBA, 7 points and 2 assists, not that impressive. He's had several of those. So, our front court continues to be a little bit sketchy. Jaden had a very good game, made a big shot for us. Look, we got to win, and we weren't hitting on all cylinders, and that's a sign of a good team. So I'm going to take it, but there's cause for concern.
Little Skid, we talked about Ryan Dunn not getting much time in the first half. Made a presence in the second half.
Yeah, he ended only with 8 minutes, so he didn't get a lot of run, but he had that one good alley-oop, he had the one-handed slam, and then there's the second alley-oop that Isaac threw up to, and he drew the foul on that. And that led to some points for us. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But we'll have to look back at it, see what the referee association tweets after the game.
LeBron style.
Yeah. But I thought that he had for the time he was in, I thought that he played well. He made a good enough impact, and he did what we needed him to.
All right, when Dougie comes back, I'm going to ask him to evaluate his 2 guys' performance. Dougie, you back? Okay.
I'm back.
Dougie, evaluate your perspective. How did Reese play overall, and how did McNeely play overall?
I think Reese has been quiet, man. Like,
And I know you didn't see a lot of the game. I know you were struggling. You had challenges,
I
but
appreciate that. No, but
yeah,
Reese is starting. He's reminded me the last couple of games, kind of first, second year Reese, right? Playing safely, not exerting. He's had trouble since his injury being able to do what he does the best that we've seen early in the season is getting around guys and going at them, even last year. And it's like finding that second, third gear and being a kind of a safe player. I don't know his stat line tonight. How many times did he shoot? 7 shots, you said,
I think
Trav?
he was
Or
2 for 4.
Yeah,
2
Was
for
he?
4s? Yeah, it's not enough
points.
Yeah, just 4
shots.
shots. Yeah.
It's not enough going to the baskets. I bet you he did not have enough turnovers for being aggressive. He's probably safe. You know,
2.
Isaac McNeely he's fine. You know, he's still good, but I think it was a hard turnaround, seriously, after Saturday
Yep.
because I was there.
Yep.
I exerted so much energy on Saturday, Marky, at the game. I have no idea how these
Doing
guys
what,
come
Dougie?
back and play on a Monday.
Dougie, doing what? What were you exerting?
Just
What were you doing
being
on the game on Saturday?
just being among the people, like talking shit, talking about the team,
I don't
being
have a bell.
excited,
I'm in the
seeing our
office of my
friends.
buddy's restaurant.
Yeah, they give you a wristband. You can only get 4 beers during the game. I only reached the third one. So, you know, it's a struggle. It's a mental game as a spectator as well as a player. And getting back to the locker room, it's not so easy anymore. They don't recognize me like you. You know, I'm not famous like you are there. So everything was like thinking ahead. So the turnaround was
Dougie, I'm
tough.
down to go with you anywhere. Dave, did you get the sense that Syracuse spent a lot of time? And I think this is where Reese didn't excel. And I don't know if what TB's game plan was this. Did you get the sense that Syracuse was denying that high post?
Yeah, it looked like they were more actively denying the first entry in any possession. They were forcing swing it around the outside, you know, top to the wing. They kept looking in there. Even in the last few minutes, they kept looking in there. They finally got it into BVP once or twice, but even then, they then swarmed as soon as he got it and forced him to pass it. One time he didn't even land. He passed it right back out. So it seemed like there was a concerted effort not to let whoever that was make plays, like not to have time on the shot clock to make plays and get other guys open. That's what
Right.
didn't always
And
work, but yeah.
Have or Dave, did you guys, either of you, or I'm sorry, Little Ski for that matter too, did you notice an adjustment in the second half at all? I mean, you listen, you put up 68 points against the Syracuse zone. That's not bad for a UVA team that slows it down in general and doesn't give up quick baskets on the other end.
Yeah, and we already take our time to get great shots, right? So the zone is already going to make us really not do anything in the first 15 seconds most of the time, other than passing the ball around, trying to look in, and them shutting down that high post just forced the outside guys to say, am I going to shoot this 3 with 12 seconds left or wait till 5? You know, and it just felt like, yeah, that concerted effort was there. And with them playing a couple of the, you know, Brown played 40 minutes for them, and Taylor played 31 minutes. So they have a little more length with the 6'6" Taylor, Brown at 6'8". So I think it was the wingspan of some of those guys that played a lot tonight was more than they had. So it was difficult.
Yep. Right. All right. When you look at the defense, and we talked about this, and I made the point a couple of times, saying that Syracuse is a perfect team for us to stop a team from getting more than 50 points. And we gave up 35 in the first half.
Yeah.
Right. And what was the final score? 68, 62, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 27 in the second half.
27 in the second half. 27 is not bad. Not
No.
bad. Not great, but not bad. But we still gave up 5 fewer points. Okay. I don't know if they had a couple of transition baskets. Mintz came down the paint one time, really unguarded, with 2 defenders back. And I don't know how much Mintz being out for a stretch. I think he picked up his 4th with about 7 minutes left. right? And then Edwards goes out with his fourth on the offensive foul. Are you concerned? There's two concerns that you mentioned. Concerns in the first half. Two concerns I have is offensive scoring in the paint, but also defensively. If they have a good athletic big, or one or two of them, an opposing team, what's the strategy for stopping them?
Well, when you look, I said this earlier, Syracuse is hard to game plan for. When you play other teams, you're going to watch the film. You're going to see their sets. You're going to practice the rotations. You're going to know what's coming at you to a degree. Syracuse they just play. So you have to read and react. And I think sometimes that's really uncomfortable for our players, particularly our bigs, right? And they're not used to being that far from the basket. And they didn't play a lot tonight. How many minutes did Caden play tonight? Like 8, something like that?
11.
Okay. So it's a hard team to sort of prepare for because they're just going to play. And we don't do well with that. We're used to looking at film, guarding, having people in position. Hey, when it's over there, you got to be here. It's much more fluid. And I'm looking at the comments here on Locker Room Access. I don't know who said it, but he's dead right. He or she. This is a survive and advance game. Like we had a short turnaround. We didn't play great. We got the win. Let's take it, go back, put some ice on our knees on the plane, recover, treatment, get some shots up, and get ready to go because that's it. That's a good win. It's an ugly win, but a good win for us.
And we continue to dominate Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. At Syracuse.
At Syracuse, correct. Little Ski, Dave, I don't know if you know the points in the paint that we scored.
Yeah, I can rattle off a little bit of it. I have a few of those. So points in the paint, 20 to 36. So Syracuse 36, UVA 20. Bench points, UVA 12 to 7. So our bench outplayed them, which we should with the guys we have coming off the bench. And then the second chance points, I think, was big. Syracuse only outscored us 12 to 10 on second chance points. So our offensive rebounding was just as good as theirs tonight, just a 2-point difference there. So that made it up for some of the points they were getting with their offensive rebounds.
Yeah. Most interesting to me is the last 2 games, how much Jaden has been kind of automatic compared to the past 5 games, the prior 5. I think somebody told him lift the shot up a little bit, or he taught himself maybe. He was shooting it very straight, and he's been automatic, man. 8 to 12 feet, right? And he was big tonight.
Big shot he hit at the end of the game to ice it.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
He sealed it with the charge drawn and then the bucket on the other end. That's 4 points right there. Because they could have easily said that was a block. I'm not saying it was a block. I'm just saying they could have.
Can we?
I'm sure your group said it was a block, right, Marky?
Oh gosh, we were getting into an argument. Can we give unbiased opinions? Little Ski, was that block or charge?
I can't be unbiased, but I think I want to say that if Syracuse doesn't get into foul trouble and they hit a few more free throws, I think this game goes very differently.
11 for 18 from the line. Syracuse missed 7.
Yeah, no. Edwards at one point missed three in a row. Little Ski, are you not answering?
I can't be unbiased. I mean,
so you're gonna say charge, Dougie.
Charge. I'm gonna tell you why I say it's a charge. Because Coach Jim Boeheim, after the play, he didn't say one word to the referee. He grabbed Edwards and he coached him for once. Coach Boeheim, he coached the kid. He told him what he did wrong. You don't see it very much. He really grabbed the kid and he told him. And it might have been not facetious. What's the word? I forgot. But it might have been like tongue-in-cheek, like these guys are calling charges on us every time. You guys better learn how to adjust. And I think it was a charge.
Can we pull it up? Flop. Is there a way we can pull it up, Spence?
Charge flop.
I could try. I don't know if it'll be up right now, but I'll look.
I can give you the legalese if you want.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
So Jaden established legal guarding position by having 2 feet on the floor facing his opponent before the move started. So that category was taken care of. All he had to do was slide his feet and not move toward Edwards. If
So
you
lateral
notice,
movement's okay.
lateral
Yeah, it
movement
is.
is fine as long
Absolutely.
as you establish initial guarding
Absolutely.
position.
Right. So if you move toward him, the defender's creating the contact, right?
That's right.
You
So all
let the
Gardner had to,
contact come to you.
yep. So
Yep.
if you notice, right, what I saw right before contact, Gardner gave way a little bit. He leaned back to make sure that the referee couldn't interpret that he leaned in, right? So textbook
Interesting.
charge.
Folks, we got our own Dick Vivetta on staff with us.
I mean,
Well, and that's good.
we called that a flop back in the days, but I guess if that's the
Agreed.
actual rule,
Well,
I didn't think it was
that's
a
the
flop.
rule.
Have
I agree.
You have your perspective?
Yeah. So I, when I saw it, and I said this while we were watching, and this is just old school without, I guess, the appreciation of the nuance. I saw him moving, and back in the day, if you were moving, you had to have your feet planted for a charge back in the day. If you're moving, and they called it forever, if you were moving, that was a charge. So, but now I guess I have a better understanding. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now that's on a dribbler. So since he was dribbling and hadn't become an airborne or started up with the ball, then he can still be moving. If he had started up and he was airborne, then you can't slide and there'd be contact. That would have been a defensive foul. But because he was a dribbler, you can slide. What they call it parallel, or they actually have this word in the rule book, obliquely. So in other words, an angle away from the dribbler.
I actually hurt my obliquely the other day.
Right in this I was going to say, Have was obliquely better than most players in college.
Yeah. I go back to, I agree with you guys. Ugly win, but it's a win on the road. Playing back basically one day.
Yeah.
I don't know when they flew up. I'm assuming we flew up last night at some point, right? And it's not a short, easy trip.
No, win and escape.
Conference win on the road against a team that's not bad.
They're not bad.
They're not bad. They aren't. And they've had some good games. They've had some close games, especially at home. And so I think this is a great win.
Yep.
And we continue to roll. You know who we got coming up next?
No.
Your boys.
Hokies.
The Hokies.
Oh, Bass Tech? Are you talking about the fishing school?
National champion.
We finished out January. We finished out January on a 7-game win streak.
Wow.
We're off.
That's amazing.
While we're talking about being off, having to go back to back with 1 day rest, we're off until Saturday. So we'll be able to rest up. Probably take tomorrow off. We'll definitely take tomorrow off, right?
Get a Jay Willie show on Wednesday.
Get a Jay Willie show on Wednesday, hopefully.
But we're going to Blacksburg, right? It's away.
Yeah, at Blacksburg.
At Blacksburg,
Spencer,
right.
can Spensky step his game up and make the road trip with a couple of homies? I can find you tickets for this one.
I don't know. We'll see. If you get me some good seats, then I might have to.
Behind the bench, is that good or bad?
That works.
Oh, that's great. That place is one of the only old school gyms left in the ACC. That and Duke, right?
Great point.
I think I'm trying to think who else it is.
Carolina.
That is
Clemson, Little John's old school.
I haven't visited that arena, but when you talk, but that place is dark. Virginia Tech is dark, dreary, black. Yeah. It's not the prettiest arena.
They have they did some renovations. It's a little bit lighter than it used to be, so they lightened it up a little bit. Because I noticed it was lighter than the game at FSU was. FSU is still darker than Cassell now. So
very dark.
Yeah, well, maroon's a dark color already, but they wear like kind of dark maroon, right? Like on their seats, they put on the seats. It's drab.
Spence and Hab, I'm handing off to you guys. I'm going back to my Syracuse guys to talk trash and let them know that UVA won.
Let them have it.
And what our record is and what their record is. And they better hope they don't see us in the ACC tournament to make it 0-3 for them this year.
All right.
All right.
See you, Mark.
Everybody have a good night. We will see you guys hopefully Wednesday on the Jay Willie and Saturday afternoon.
All right.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Go Hoos.
Hoos. Great win.
All right. So all right, let's go through. Let's get some questions from the comments. Let's see what we got. Coming in from. All right. So what do we think about Caden over the last couple of games? Been not getting a lot of minutes. Didn't get a lot of minutes again today, even against a bigger squad. What do we think about that, Have?
Well, I would say, you said last couple games. When was the last time Caden played like meaningful minutes? It's more than a couple games. I don't have that like on me.
Last game he played.
Last game?
Last game he played some.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm talking about like he was playing last year. Like it's been a while since we've seen Caden like play 25 minutes and dominate. And I know that's small ball and there's a premium on shooting this year and it's been working for us, but he's going to have his moments this year. I really believe that. He's just got to stay with it. It's hard when you're not playing to remain confident. It's hard to stay positive. I always say this is that, playing time is really the only currency you have as a college player. Now, NIL has changed that a little bit, but, when you're not playing, it's hard. And I think the sets we're running, we're not running that blocker mover stuff. It's just different for him. And I really hope he sticks with it and keeps working hard because he'll win some games for us this year at some point. Whether it's a big block or a big game, I think he'll be impactful. And we're going to need him for Duke for sure.
All right. So based on what we've seen today, and Fresh was commenting on it a bit off stream, what are we thinking about guys going pro after this season and then down the line? We'll start after this season. Fresh, what do you think from this squad? Do you think anyone's going to be leaving after this season?
No. How about that? I would argue or advise not for anyone in this team to go pro. I understand a guy like, let's say Armand, he would be going into his 5th year. He may have a decision to make about different things, but it's not NBA pro. Reese is not NBA pro right now. Ryan Dunn is 2 years away from it. If I'm saying the right names we're talking about, I think we get way, way ahead of ourselves because of recent success with early departures. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter. Everybody and no one are those guys, right? I mean, Malcolm Brogdon played 5 years. Am I right, Dave? He played 5 years in the system. He's the consummate professional. Joe Harris played 4. We can go on and on. So I don't think anybody goes. I would advise against it for all these guys at this point. Now, if and when we make our run to the Final Four, that can all change. And obviously, we never take away a person's opportunity to be a high draft pick and get guaranteed money. So that could change. But at this point, for me, I don't see it. That's just my opinion. Could be wrong, but I think I'm probably right.
Do you guys think, I'll send this one to Dave, do you think that we could go deep in the tournament in March without Caden playing well or playing a lot at all?
I'll say this, situationally, depending on the opponent, I don't think we get to the Final Four without him having 2 of the 4 really good games. I think there's going to be, maybe against, let's just say, Monmouth or an Albany like we played earlier, someone in the first round.
Yeah.
We don't need him because it's mid-major size. But there's going to be someone he's going to have to guard. And defensively, say what you want, but defensively, we only have 2+ defenders all year, and that's been Dunn and Shedrick. Reese was hurt. He wasn't a plus. He's a plus defender now. But consistently, every time they played, those 2 were the plus defenders. So there's going to be a game or 2 where you can't play BVP and Gardner heavy minutes. They're just not athletic and tall enough. So I think I think it's got to be at least half the games where he's a legitimate 18 to 20 minute factor.
Wow. Yeah, I think going back to 2019, like our last experience with it, right? What happened? Mamadi played a lot of minutes, right? Am I right here? But thinking about this,
Yeah, Diakite and Key.
Braxton Key.
Yeah.
Jack Salt is longer than both, but we understand like what we're. But I think when you get to that, I'm not sure we care about it now. I think we're trying to win games now. We'll win them the way we
Yeah.
can. But I think what Dave is saying is exactly right. When it comes to that, the adjustments and the needs to win to go to the next thing is probably right. Sorry to jump in.
Hey, I have a question. So, and maybe to Dave, because I know you watch this stuff. Is Clemson good, or have they just had a fortuitous schedule and they've come up big a couple times when they needed to? Are they good? What are we, a game and a half behind in the conference race?
Just a game.
Just a
Yeah,
game. Okay.
Just a game. So, couple things. They've won a few games with one possession games in the last 90 seconds. They got gifted the game against Florida State on Saturday. Florida State just completely gave that game away. So that should have been a loss against anyone with the right. They fouled up 3 with 10 seconds left, right? And then stopped the clock, gave Hall. So as far as the talent, they haven't been healthy all year. So PJ Hall, I think, is probably their most talented player. He's a guy that we thought, I think he's a better BVP, much better, like bigger. He's 6'10", can shoot it. But he was coming off injury at the beginning of the year, so he wasn't really healthy the first 10 games. They have 2 guards that have been out. I don't know if you saw that viral reason why one of the guys is out.
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
His situation. And then another guard Hunter just came back after being out for 4 games too. So they've been winning games, not healthy. Like they haven't had their full starting lineup. I want to say at least 9 or 10 games. So to piggyback on top of that, I'm looking forward to, since we play them, the last week of the season, I'm hoping they're fully healthy, because I think fully healthy, that will be a good test going into the postseason to see what a tournament team looks like. Same thing with North Carolina, right? We didn't have to play against Baycott or who's their
RJ Davis got hurt?
No, their power forward was out too.
Nance.
So we didn't play against either of those. By the way, their starting 5 is like the 3rd best 5-man lineup in the country, like as far as scoring differential, right? So we didn't have to play them. So those are 2 games. I actually want them to be healthy, because I think those would be good tests. Plus, selfishly, I'm probably going to be at that game at North Carolina. I want there to be a good test there and have that be a barn burner, right? So, but Clemson, if they get healthy, their guards are old and good and big and can shoot it. They're 2 bigs. Think in terms of us with Huff and Hauser. That's their 2 bigs. They can do a lot of things. But their guards can shoot it too. So they're good. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyson. Remember last year, Tyson and PJ Hall, they were surprises for us because we hadn't checked them out too much. They're tough kids, have gotten better in college, right? And they can shoot it. They're really cocky. PJ Hall especially, I think, right?
Yeah.
Who's older? And
Tyson's cocky too, though. Yeah.
I think Tyson's the kid that killed us maybe last year, and we didn't know about him. We knew about PJ, or vice versa. 2 white guys who were big, so you can't tell them apart. Anyhow, they were really cocky, really, really confident, and have a lot of fun playing basketball, right? And they mesh very well with their teammates. So outside of their program, I'm not surprised about Clemson at all. I don't have an opinion on their coach and their overall program and that stuff. But the personnel, I think, are studs.
Do you think that we can compete with UNC and Baycott if Shedrick does not show up?
Yeah, I mean, look, Baycott, I watched the Syracuse Carolina game, which Syracuse, we covered this, totally gave away. Baycott is not a threat. He's an old school big guy, right? He's scoring down in the post. He's rebounding everything. He reminds me of like a 90s big man. And we're going to need a foil to that. It's not BVP. It's not Jaden. And if you remember last year, it wasn't anybody. Like, he just destroyed us. So, my guess is heading into that game, Poppy and Caden are gonna, they're gonna have these guys ready. I hope it's their sort of re-coming out party. We're gonna have to throw everything at him because that guy's just tough. He's a beast down there, all ACC performer, first team type of guy. So we got to be ready, and it's not with our little, as Dave says, like we can't attempt to cover that with mid-major size and mid-major athleticism. We need the big boys for this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got another coming in from John Abbott on YouTube. I'm gonna adjust the question a little bit. Is Kihei Clark one of our best 3-point guards of all time at the University of Virginia?
No.
Top 5?
No.
Where do you put him, Fresh?
Well, obviously behind Fresh.
Well, no, obviously not. No, he's won a national championship, right? So that gives him immediately you jump to whatever level. But I'm going to tell you, and I hate doing it, but I'm going to do it. 80s and 90s ACC was just different. You want to start? Let's go. John Crotty, Corey Alexander, Harold Dean, Buzzy Wilkinson. Just kidding, sort of, not really. Barry Parkhill, a little bit of a point guard. Othell Wilson, Jeff Jones. I mean, these guys are
Sean Singletary.
Sean Singletary, my bad, Sean, my man. Donald Hand, like just other guys. It's just different.
Mason.
Obviously Ty Mason, and it has nothing against. Kihei has, against everything I thought, he has become a lead point guard in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I never was. It's extremely hard to do, and he is so comfortable this year doing it. Much more comfortable than ever. He's laughing. He's having joy. He's laughing. He's smiling. He's playing. He's slowed the game down. But in my opinion, his stats may say differently at the end of it, but not a top 5 or 10. So
I think anytime you rank,
what do you think, John? John, what do you think, man?
I think ranking people is always tricky.
Yes.
I choose to look at it like this. Like Kihei kind of gets a lifetime achievement award. Okay. He's been around forever. He's won a natty. He's played in the most games. Like he is a UVA legend because of his overall contribution.
Yes.
But you can't put him in that same category if he's, ever since his first year, if he were never to be considered sort of for the NBA. Lifetime Achievement Award is the perfect slot. That's where I'm going. He's sort of like he's an actor that's been in a ton of movies, but he's never won an Oscar. How about that?
Yeah, and John made a good point just now. I saw the comments. Harold Dean may have been called a combo guard. Different guys. I would argue Kihei is a combo guard. And I 100% agree, Have. You said it way better than me getting defensive for no reason and rifling out comparisons, because there's not a comparison, right? On the continuum of playing basketball, Kihei is going to be thought of as a top point guard in the history of Virginia basketball. It doesn't matter top 5, top 3, top 10, top 20. He will be considered one of the best point guards, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
he was part of a winning era, kind of like I'll liken him to Robert Horry. I know it's not the same position, but Robert Horry was part of like 7 or 8 NBA championship teams. But no one's going to say he was one of the top small or power forwards of his era, right? So
Ray Shields nailed it. If he wins 2 natties, the top ever. I agree, Ray. Great point.
Maybe that changes things.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that if he could lead this team to, I'd say even if he could lead us to the NCAA championship, I think that he's definitely top 3 all time.
Well, I'll say I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
It's not because it's near and dear to my heart, but it kind of is. Comparing him to his peers, Kihei, right, as he's played. Like, what great point guards has he played against? Dave, the way would know better than me. Pritchard, probably. ACC point guards, Appleby, is he an all-time great? Not really. Let's go. Sam Cassell, Chris Corciani,
Kenny Anderson, Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, Kenny Anderson, Bobby Hurley. So that's kind of how I judged it when I played, watching John Crotty and Corey Alexander. And
who was the guy who played with Duncan at Wake?
Randolph Childress.
Yeah, Childress. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that guy, right? So that's all. That's different to me. But you know what? In his capsule and his time, yeah, he probably is, right?
Do you think that they'll retire the number 0 if we win the Natty this year?
I think it's getting retired anyway.
I think it's a jersey. There's a difference between jersey and number. I think it's a jersey, not a number.
Yes, Corey Vaughn. Sorry. Yeah, I think he's going to have a lifetime membership to live in Charlottesville, Virginia, and do any job he wants to, and he's earned it, man. The dude's,
lifetime NIL deal.
Lifetime, whatever. Work at ACAC, open a yogurt store, live with Hav above the Little John's, whatever it is.
Frozen yogurt.
Yeah, he'll be a lifetime guy. He should be.
All right.
This is more important.
Anything else from any of you guys before we head out?
Don't let Couture get loose on Saturday. He's been on fire.
Or Padula. Sure. Padula's been balling too.
Yeah, he has.
Yep. I think it's just a great go in there, get the win. We think it's ugly. We think it's pretty. I wasn't able to see much of it, but just getting a win that's impressive. So.
All right. Thanks very much for watching, everybody.
Eric with a comment. Hang on, we got to call that out. Statue at the Good Feet store. That's awesome. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I met the Good Feet store, Mr. Cotton. Great, awesome guy, man. So cool.
All right. So Dave, Hav, Fresh. I'm Spencer. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being on. We got Wednesday probably Jay Willie show. Stay tuned for that. And if not, we'll definitely see you guys on Saturday. Go Hoos.
Go Hoos.
Go Hoos.